Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are finishing up my Sew the 40s pattern where we are making this pattern out of this fabric. So I've cut and I've sewed, I've cut it, not yet sewing. That's what we're going to do on this video. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay, so in these very limited instructions, the first thing that there's an important up here, and they want you to match the notches, which is most patterns, and then use large circles, medium circles, and small circles as instructed. Baste the garment together before stitching, which is kind of wild. But on a side note, has everyone seen that, like, the thread that you baste and then you wash it and it goes away? Maybe I'll baste more if I ever have that. Anyway, back to this. Baste garment together before stitching. Lawn, bias seams, allow them to hang a day. If it seams, draw, open, and rebaste until they hang smoothly. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, let's start with number 1. Well, instruction 1. There's 8 instructions. That's kind of wild. Usually there's 30 something or 27 or, you know. So we're going to make the shell. Yes. Yeah, so the second one is telling you to do the detachable collar, but you make it when dress is completed. Huh. So this is my collar. So this is the front. This is the side back. This looks like a front side. The 2 notches matching. It's a good indicator. Here's also a front side. 2 notches match. Good indicator. This is over here. Whoa, whoa. All right, so this is the side back. Whoa. Here's also a side back and the very back. I didn't really need to label them. I kind of had a good idea just based on what they look like, where they go. So I'm supposed to sew these fronts together, and then I'm supposed to clip these curves. So hopefully I can sew it to match the pattern. Just gonna have to pin it like crazy, but that's bust curves for you. I'm going to sew this on one side, and then I'm going to sew it on the other side, and then we'll come back and we will see how well it's matched. And then clip these curves. So that's the curves that they were talking about is this one. So it lays flat or flatter. All right, so I'm going to go sew these and then come back and see how well it looks, and then move on, I guess, to the collar, I guess. Let's go and sew it all together. All right, so I sewed the top and it's pretty good. Looks like it matches. So that's good. So now we're gonna put the side seams on, or the side back on, but you sewed the side seams, and then the back, and then attach the shoulders, and then we move on to the collar. So far, it's actually working. So that's exciting. So let's pin all the other ones up. Sew the side, sew the shoulders, and then we're gonna move on to the collar. Okay, so tad hiccup in the matching. So as I was sewing on the back piece, I noticed that I matched the dark lines pretty well, but not the white. It's just off. And I did it on both of them. I thought it matched really well, but I guess it wasn't. So now I have to recut out the back pieces to match. So thankfully I got enough that I can recut everything out, but I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh, rats. A little hiccup, but that's all right. Have to rip one out. But I caught it on the other one because I did both of them. I caught it on this one. So as you can tell, this white goes into pink, and then this pink goes into the white. I just shifted it wrong, I guess. I have to recut it out. It's all right.
I'm okay. No, I'm not.
So now I need to be way more careful on the back piece to make sure that it lines up. I did really good on the dark ones, but not the white and the pink. Let's try this again, and hopefully this is the last one. Hopefully. Okay, so I finished the first step. I think it looks pretty good. The white's matching pretty well. The dark is matching pretty well. It just looks pretty good. Even the back is matching all the way across. I don't understand why the neck is so high. Like, it's just a really high neck. The next step, I wanted to show you like this because it's better to see on how it drapes on a form and how well it matches across. And so next, which I don't really understand, it wants me to make the collar, but it says detachable collar. Make when dress is completed. I don't know. Attached collar. Okay. Face, leaving notched edge open. Here's my collar. So essentially it's gonna go like that. Essentially. I think it's kind of cute with the pink. It's giving off like the 1930s ones that I made. The little Peter Pan. Peter Pan was popular back then, I guess. Okay, so I'm at the point where I need to make my own bias tape, which I always think like I can't match this color, which I most certainly can. But wouldn't it be fun to make my own bias tape? And it's not. Have I ever made my own bias tape? No. So I went on YouTube. I looked like how to make your own bias tape, and I found this lady, and let me see if I can find her. Londa Rolfine. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, yeah, she has a YouTube. Londa. I think it's Londa. There's no R. Londa. Demonstrates how to fold fabric to cut lawn strips of bias. That's the video I watched, and it's actually really helpful for if you've never done bias tape. So I'm going to do like a quick tutorial on how to do bias tape because I think it's super important. You need a bias tape maker. I had no idea what this was. And then starch. I don't think I've ever used starch. Again, it helps with bias because I think it keeps it stiff as you're trying to pull it through this, and it folds it out of this end. Anyway, the gal said that starch is the best way to make it go through this contraption. I'm going to do a quick tutorial, just a quick one, on how to do your bias tape because I think this gal, she did a really good job. So let's go ahead and start. Okay, so you take any size of fabric, take this end and you fold it like this. So you're going to have this like overlay, but you make it so this line is straight down here, right here. And then you take this side and we fold it back this way. So you've got this, and then you fold it again like this. So you've got a bunch of folds here, and then you fold this over. And then you grab your ruler, your rotary ruler, and a rotary blade, and it just depends on how big you want the bias tape. So I want to fold it and then fold it again. So I'm going to do 2 inches. And it's a lot to cut through. And so you just keep cutting it, so just keep going. There we go. Okay. And it stretches, it's stretchy bias tape. So you can keep cutting that and then square this up because you want one long strip. So what you do is you chop it off, chop it up, chop it up, and then you do this. Stitch from this corner, so you sandwich them on like 90 degrees, and then you do like a stitch like this. And then when you open it up, It'll be like that. So that's how you sew bias tape. It's kind of cool. So I already went ahead and did that. And I got this really long piece of bias tape. I mean, it's really super long. I've never used this. And spray on fabric and iron away. Mary Ellen makes ironing almost fun. I like how it says almost there. I'm going to spray it and then I'm going to iron and see what happens. And then I'm going to try and put it through the little bias tape maker and we'll see if we can get this. I just might give up. Who knows? But this is a good thing because now I can say I've done this. Because usually I'm just lazy and buy it. Which I should have been. Alright, here we go. Okay, so I just sprayed it with starch and I feel like it's crisper. I wish it had more instructions on it because like I had to sit there for a while and if you don't sit there then it doesn't get starchy. And then I don't know how much to spray. There's just, it says spray on a fabric and iron away. Okay. Alright, let's try this. So I've got my bias tape. So I've got this all. This helps it move it through. So I'm going to do this, see how well it works. Okay, so here's on the other side. Okay, okay, okay. It's not quite even yet. That actually doesn't look too bad. So this is my bias tape. So I'm just going to sit and pull this out as I iron it. I do recommend starching this. This is so much easier now that it's starched. I'm going to keep it really steady because if you pull it fast, it will become uneven. But this is what I want, and then I'm going to fold it over again. And so you have this nice like casing that's going to go around the collar. Because I guess it's detachable? I don't know. I have no idea. I wish there was a facing. I wish that like this had, like you attach it right here, and then on the other side is like a facing so that you don't have to do this. You could just face it. Stuff back then. Anyway, this was an experiment. I'm just gonna buy it next time and be like, it's close enough to matching. It's okay. Because this is kind of a pain in the butt. But now I can say I've done it. I've made bias tape. So I'm going to run it through the iron. Then I'm going to start again with the collar. And then we'll move on, probably to sleeves, but I really like her. Like, I think it matches really, really well. Like, can you tell there's a seam here? Vaguely. And then also in the back, it just matched up so nicely. Like, the seam's right here. It's just good. So, let me make the bias tape and be right back. All right, so I must say, making bias tape is really super easy. There, look. I've got tons. Seamless seems to be coming apart. Anyway, so I've got that done. And then I have to figure out this collar. Collar doesn't make any sense. It wants something with a bias facing. So by doing two sides, it's facing a collar. I know that much. Face, leaving notched edge open. So here's the notched edge open, so you can turn it. Trim seam, turn. Based to neck edge. So here's a notch and here's a notch, and I feel like that's what I'm going to be doing. Matching notches and the medium circles. Okay. So I think this one is the medium one and this one is the small one. I think what it wants me to do is like fold this with the big circle. So this is faced, so it's facing, like making a face for the buttons on the back. And then this little bit bigger hole, like it's so confusing. This little bit bigger hole is where the collar ends in the back. Okay, so I figured that out. And then, okay, so you hem facing and neck edge with or without collar. Stitch under seam allowance on the back. Fold to outside on small holes to form hem facing. Stitch to neck edge. Finish remaining neck edge with biased facing. There's no bias facing. Extending ends over hem facing. Turn hem facing to inside baste. I have no idea what this means because I looked at these instructions and like, here's where the collar is. And I mean, there's a collar over here, but what would that do? I don't know. Like, I guess you can do a bias tape. I can sew this on and then you bias tape around the edges and then you tuck it and then you like slip stitch it around so that it stays tucked in. I guess I can do that. Is that what that means? I don't know. I have no idea. And then like also detachable collar. So I was like, maybe I'll just make a detachable collar. Also doesn't make any sense. You make the collar and then you put it on bias fold. So like what I was going to do anyway. Make collar as in number 2, which I don't understand anyway. Tack front ends of collar together. Bind raw edges with bias fold tape. So I've got that. I've got bias fold tape. Slip stitch bound edge of collar inside neck matching the center. I mean, why is that detachable? I'm slip stitching it on. Oh gosh, this doesn't make any sense. I really don't enjoy this pattern. I think I'm just going to sew around here, turn it inside out, and then I'm going to sew it onto this and then bias tape around it and then kind of fold it under and slip stitch it because this doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to follow my heart and hopefully it's correct. I'm just going to figure it out. So I'm just going to sew the neck or sew this on and then I will be back to, what's the next thing? The placket. Oh, darn it. Okay, I'm going to sew on the placket after the collar. Yay! All right. So sew the collar. Okay, so the collar's on. I kind of wish that I would have just made a facing for it because it's just laying weird. I don't know why I'm trying to make this fit this dress form. It's not going to. Like, this dress form is not the same size. Okay, let's move on. Gosh. Oh no. Now I have to make a placket on the skirt. Plackets are going to be the death of me. So these 3 dots up here are the back. 1, 2, 3. And I'm supposed to cut through it. Oh gosh. So I'm supposed to stitch 1/4 inch on each side and then cut it, right? No. Yeah, okay, so I'm doing a V to the small notch on the bottom. Slash between the stitching. Cut a continuous lap 2 inches wide and twice the length of the opening. Place one edge on the outside of the slash line, or the slash, with stitching line 1/4 inch from the edge of the lap. Stitch. You know, what makes more sense is the picture rather than just what it's saying to me. Okay. This picture makes more sense than what this is telling me because I think all it is a placket. And you know how I love plackets. This project is going to be the death of me. I wish there was zippers. I don't want to make a placket because the placket then has to have snaps on it. I like zippers so much better. So I'm going to open it up like it says. Going to cut right down the middle. So here's my cut line. And then 1/4 inch. So it just means like 1/4 inch here. So let's just 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. These are my stitch lines. And then I'm going to cut this in the middle. And then I have to bias tape it into a placket. I really don't like plackets. Maybe I just need to make a bunch of plackets and then I'll just become really good at them. Maybe there's a trick to them that I don't know. All I have is my sewing book. It's not here, just that. I've got my, wow, my sewing book is really trashed. Continuous sleeve placket. Yep, this is exactly what it wants me to do. Okay, so here's the 1/4 inch, and then you stitch 2 times the length opening and then 1.5 inches. So I'm just gonna follow this. We'll figure this out. 2 times the length of opening. So I'm gonna make 7 by, does it say 2 inches? 2 inches wide and 7. And then I'm gonna follow this and it's gonna tell me exactly what, you know, what I need. Yep. Okay, so this is 2, the ruler is 2, and I just need 7. And I just need my marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna go sew this and then I'm gonna come back and slash it and then we're gonna start on this placket because, yeah, let's see. Oh gosh. Okay. Here is my sewing. So then I spread it flat. Place the sleeve on the sewing table. Sleeve, correct side up. Spread the sleeve / open. Place the correct side of the placket to the wrong side of the sleeve opening. What? Oh, okay. Correct side of the placket is here. To the wrong side of the sleeve opening. Pin in place. The placket opening of the sleeve is placed in a V to the edge of the placket piece. Whatever that means. Oh my gosh, I hate plackets. Okay, and then we're going to stitch a 1/4 seam allowance on the entire placket opening. And then we're going to press the unsewn 1/4 inch in. Okay. I don't understand, like, how I'm going to sew this giant piece that's like sticking out. Well, not giant piece, but this part right here. How do I sew that? We'll just figure it out. Like I said, plackets are the death of me. I hate them. So that kind of looks like the picture. And now I'm going to sew the entire placket opening at a 1/4 inch. It doesn't seem like I can do it this way. It's supposed to make a V according to this book. I'm just hoping I'm doing this right. So here's my placket and then I fold it over just past my original stitching, which I just did, and then pin it into place. Okay, and then I'm going to stitch that down and then we'll come back for the next one, the next step, which is sandwiching them together. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna go sew this and then we'll start from the next step, which I hope works. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. Okay, so the next step, it says press the placket away from the wrong side of the sleeve opening. Okay. So it's like this. You stitch a diagonal here, and then apparently it just works. Oh man, it's gonna be the death of me, I swear. Okay, moment of truth. I just sewed the diagonal and okay, it's really, really rough. Like, what is going on with this? Oh no. Here, I'm just gonna go press it really fast. All right, it's not great. But I am at this point in my life where I'm not ripping this out. It's just gonna be because I'm done with this pattern. But anybody tell me what I'm doing wrong, because it's like this huge lump at the bottom over here. Like maybe, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with my life. Okay, well, I'm going to move on because I'm just over this. The snaps are going to go here. I mean, it's pretty other than this bottom part. Whatever. So we did that. Now we're going to do the side seams. And it's going to make a circle. And we're that much closer to getting done with this. I know I said that like I will hand sew buttons holes on, but that's not happening either. I'm so ready to be done with this. It's not my favorite. I really wish I understood why the directions say what they say. Anyway, yeah, I need somebody to help me with plackets. So if you just love plackets, drop me a line, tell me how to do them better, what I'm missing. Okay, so what's next is the sleeve. I'm gonna have to put a bunch of darts in the cap, which I have never done before. I've always done gathers. So that's going to be different. And then I will, no, there's another placket. Is there a placket on the short sleeves? Nope. They just became a short sleeve shirt because I am not doing a placket. Maybe I just need to make a bunch of plackets and then I'll just become really good at them. I don't want to do placket. Yeah, this is turning into a short sleeve shirt. Maybe I just need to make a bunch of plackets. I'm not going to do a placket. I'm finished with this project. So I have to do the sleeves, attach the sleeves to the top. And then I'm going to omit, I always was going to omit shoulder pads. I just feel like if it's not a jacket, then why do you need shoulder pads?
Those shoulder pads are really boss, man.
Maybe because it looks better, but I don't like shoulder pads in general. I just think they're weird looking.
Really boss, man.
So I'm omitting the shoulder pads, which is fine because it's an omittable thing. They're optional. And then make the buttonholes and then do the hem and then I'm finished. Ugh. So I'm going to do these two side seams and then I'm going to attach the bodice and then go from there. So close. Okay, I did it. It's all done. Not everything's all done, but like, it's shaping up to be a dress, a pretty cute dress. I like it. This is what I did. This is the sleeve, and I cut it off because there's going to be no plackets, no more. And I cut off the sleeve. So I've got extra sleeve that's gone. Now there's 4 little darts. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top that I have to go and sew. That is my next step, to sew these darts and then put them in the sleeve. Buttonholes by machine. I'm not doing them by hand. Refuse to do them by hand. And then the hem, sew in the buttons, and I'm finished. All in all, it's been a very bad pattern. I wish I had more like understanding of it, but that's all right. It's been a learning experience. So here we go. Just sew these darts and put them in the dress. Alright, so I just sewed in the sleeve, and I must say, I kind of like the pleat. It was way easy to sew in. That's what they look like. Again, kind of fun, but like, they just fit really nice. Usually it's such a pain to sew in sleeves because of there's extra here, and so you have to like ease it in, but this was relatively easy. It's turning out pretty cute. Oh, I have to hem the sleeve and do the buttons and the hem and I'm done. Oh, how exciting. Again, I'm going to repeat that. I am not going to do the buttonholes by hand. I did that last project and it turned out pretty awful. This is turning into a nightmare.
Oh my gosh.
So I am going to do these by machine. Yes, I am going to cheat, but that's all right. So buttonholes, hem, and hem, and I'm finished. I think it'll look really cute on my daughter. Turned out really well. I'm excited. Let's start on these hem on the sleeve. This is like the home stretch, and I just think this fabric is just adorable. I love it. Almost done. Stupid thing. All right, so I did the sleeve and the hem. The sleeve hem. Sleeve and the hem. Sleeves, hems, sleeve hem, and the sleeve hem. And look at how cute it is. All right. I think these sleeves are just adorable. I really, really like the pleats. They kind of give it a boxy shape, which is kind of cute. And then I attached the skirt, which is also very cute. And now all I have to do next is the button. I think I put it wrong. So, come on. There we go. It goes like this. So I need to somehow move this over so it looks like that. It needs to be like this, but for some reason I need to fold it. So I'll just rip it out, redo it, and then put the buttonhole in it. I think she looks kind of cute. Okay, so I need to fix the pocket and then buttonholes, which I will not be doing by hand. And then I'll sew the buttons on, and then she's finished. There we go. I need to be done with this project. It's causing headaches. Yeah. All right, let's fix it. Thanks for watching my 40s video. Here's the end result. It turned out really cute. I really think that it screams the 40s. It's exactly what I thought it would be. And I'm actually really glad I shortened the sleeves instead of kept them long. It just gives it I think a cuter look. I love how the pattern just really matches and you don't even notice that there's seams there. I think it fits her pretty well. It's a little bit big on her, but I think it fits her personality. I really, really love this pattern. Not really in love with instructions, but that's okay. This was a harder than normal pattern, mainly because it was unmarked and there was a lot of things that weren't said in the patterns, but I think all in all it turned out really well. So anyway, thanks for watching my 40s video and we'll catch you next video.
Those shoulder pads are really boss, man.